You had $1 million, Sam, or more. You won the lottery, but you could only spend it on a collection. What collection are you putting that money toward?
Are you talking like a card collection?
Literally anything. It doesn't matter the space. Doesn't matter. I mean, you have unlimited potential here to do whatever you want.
Ooh, that's actually a good question.
Yeah.
Oh man, any collection.
Would you like me to go first and you could think?
Yeah. Go ahead and go first.
All right. I should have made you go first because I'm trying to share these things
that's
as
what's
we
up.
talk. But that's okay. My dream collection, if I could do whatever I wanted, is I would build some awesome like man cave, right? Would be the first step.
Okay,
That's part of the
okay.
collection. I have to build my space first.
Well, yeah, you got to have your space. Because if you don't
Exactly.
have a space, what's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah, exactly. You just
And-
have this stuff in storage, like.
Right. That'd be stupid. And then I would buy as much memorabilia, sports memorabilia specifically, that's my collection right there, sports memorabilia. Not cards. I have to really specify it. It's going to be sports memorabilia, game worn, signed stuff.
Okay.
I guess it could be a signed baseball. It could be a signed card, but literally just as much memorabilia as God would let me buy.
I actually like that. That's not bad.
Yep, that's mine for sure.
I'm glad you gave me some time to think because I think I would go movie memorabilia.
Really, that's a good one. You don't really think about that.
Only because big movie fan, love movies.
Yep. Have you watched Dune?
I have not, although I have read the books, loved the books.
Okay.
And I am very excited to go see the movie, which I don't actually know when I'll go see it, but hopefully soon. I'm actually kind of slacking on going to see movies.
Well, it's kind of hard sometimes. I mean, with everything going on still.
That's true.
To actually get out and do something, just seems like they make it tough. Sports or movie memorabilia is also a good one. Sorry, I'm trying to.
Or if we're going with the trendy answer, it'd be currently Pokemon memorabilia because that's just been booming for months now. But
has it actually?
Oh yeah,
that's good to know.
That
I don't know
just
why
the
it's
cards,
good to know.
I guess, but
I don't really have anything to say to it. But okay, good to know. All right, well, that's a good little opener there. Welcome to the locker room, episode number 63. I'm your host, Justin Reed, not alongside Andrew Tenney. He got called into work this morning. Called his coworker a good person, but had to fill in for him. So it is what it is. We're down here in the Holly Mason building, downtown Spokane. I just really like this building. Every time I enter it, it's a nice, it has a nice classical feel to it.
It's a good building. I do like being here. Andrew's not here to point out your lower third today, but you are a mama's boy today.
Oh, I like how you have a lower third.
Yeah, just for today, I'm the voice of reason.
That makes sense because you literally are just the voice.
Exactly. That's
a good point there. So I would like to know what the history of this building is. I should look that up at some point, actually. Anyway, let's go into our first and one of our two sponsors, LuckyBird. LuckyBird is the sponsor of the Locker Room, and they are a Spokane-based e-commerce and digital marketing company dedicated to helping local companies scale in the online world of e-commerce and digital marketing. Visit luckybirdbrands.com to have a down-to-earth, no-pressure conversation about your digital marketing and e-commerce strategies today. The fact that there's people out there that still aren't using them is pretty disgusting.
Blows my mind, honestly. Truly incredible.
It's those people probably should die.
Wow, that's
maybe
that's a hard take. That's a real hard take.
Are you on board with that take?
I don't know about that one.
All right, that's fine. I'll go down with the sinking ship.
Cool.
All right, so a couple of number 63s in Seattle sports. Ryan Fearbrand in 06. He didn't do anything, but I do remember just him just because of his last name. Jesus Montero, the most famous number 63 in Mariners history. One of baseball's best prospects in the 2010s, ended up getting fat and fighting with Mariners minor league officials when he couldn't get an ice cream sandwich to the dugout. True story, by the way.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
How have I never heard that?
Yeah, so he was caught. I kind of phrased that improperly. So he was eating an ice cream sandwich. He ordered one to the dugout, was eating an ice cream sandwich, and some fans called him fat, and he tried to fight them.
As one does.
He was fat. He gained a lot of weight. He was a catcher. really high-end prospect, and he was just garbage though. Unfortunately, because we traded Michael Pineda to the Yankees for him, he just never really panned out at all. Current number 63, Diego Castillo, Mariners reliever right now. And on the Seahawks, there's not many 63s, which is interesting because linemen really can only be a certain amount of numbers. You'd expect there to be more 63s. I guess linebackers can also be in the 60s. Most successful 63 I've never heard of, Nick Bebout, was here played for the Seahawks from 76 to 79. He was part of their first team in franchise history, so that's kind of fun. And then Mike Lewinsky, 2015 to 2017, now plays for Colts. Sounds about right. He sucked with us, and actually is a decent player with the Colts now. So that, as usual, that's what happens with Mariners and Seahawks. They're bad for us, and they go play well for someone else. But I'm used to it now. We're all used to it now. Don't you hate that, Sam? When things are bad, and just in general, let's think of even like a politician, like a local politician is bad for a community, moves on, and is good for another community. Or restaurant, if you're an owner and you go from one city to another, it fails in one. It just sucks when you're something that you care about, something that you root for, cheer for, sucks for you, and it's good for someone else. Some other person gets to enjoy the thing that you just so badly wanted to enjoy.
So basically, the career of every Seattle Mariner.
Hey, yes. Unfortunately, yes. That does happen all too often. I'm going to pretend like you didn't just hurt my feelings.
I'm sorry. It was there.
It was easy.
It was
low-hanging fruit.
You were real soft pitch to me there.
Low-hanging fruit for sure. Good Mariners news, though, actually. This just happened this morning. Ken Griffey Jr. will be part of the Mariners ownership group. Did buy some shares in the front office. Really cool news. He's going to be able to kind of be more involved with decision-making. Currently, Griffey is a senior advisor to Commissioner Rob Manfred, which he joined or became in January of this season. He consults with MLB on baseball operations and youth baseball development. Pretty much just trying to make baseball cool and better, which is definitely what it needs. He just is a big proponent of that. He works in a lot of different outlets as far as MLB goes. Now he'll be kind of really taking on a big role with the Mariners, which is really cool to see considering his statue is out front of T-Mobile. His jersey's retired. He's obviously in the Hall of Fame at the time, went in with a record 99.7%, 99.3% of all ballots, which, by the way, isn't that ridiculous that there had never been a player who was inducted in the Hall of Fame with 100%, never a unanimous Hall of Fame inductee until Mariano Rivera just did it a couple years ago. Isn't that wild?
Super crazy considering
Babe Ruth
get in. Just the caliber of players who have been inducted before that.
You want to know what? And what it is? It's really unfortunate. All the ballots are anonymous. Nobody knows unless you make them public yourself. So there are people there who I know just did it because they could do it. They didn't vote someone in, and they make an excuse like, well, that vote then isn't going to go to someone else who needed it, and it's like, I don't care. Ken Griffey Jr. should have been unanimous. He was the best player in baseball for a decade. So that was super. And yeah, Derek Jeter also should have been unanimous just based off of his
full and incredible career.
Right. And, he obviously won a lot of titles. He was very instrumental in the Yankees' success during all of those titles as well. There's a lot of players throughout history who should have been unanimous. And it took a reliever, Mariano Rivera, to actually get that to happen. So very surprising. Granted, the Hall of Fame also took 9 years to get Edgar Martinez in the Hall of Fame, even though the award for the best designated hitter in baseball is the Edgar Martinez Designated Hitter Award. So they have problems. It's just a bunch of old guys who just are old, and they just are they think they either know more or they just don't care about the fact that players weren't unanimous. But cool to have Griffey back in the fold officially within the Mariners. He's part of an ownership group that will be spending a lot of money this offseason, or at least in theory. That is a couple news things here, a couple trades, nothing that's important to me. The reason why I brought up that sports memorabilia thing, Sam, is this morning, it may have been yesterday actually now that I'm looking at it, but Michael Jordan's game-worn basketball shoes that he wore when he was a rookie sold for $1.472 million yesterday.
Wow.
Shoes.
To be fair, Not surprised.
That's an awesome piece of memorabilia.
That is a legitimate one-of-a-kind memorabilia.
Yep. Yeah, it was attached with photo matching, proof that these are the shoes that he was wearing. He wore them during his 5th NBA game, 17.5 rebound, 5 assist game against the Nuggets. They're signed by Jordan. They were maintained and was sold by former Nuggets ball boy TJ Lewis. That's nice. That's a nice paycheck on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, seriously. That's
$1.5 million.
Yeah, just casual.
Just a casual Sunday.
That's one of those things, though. I would imagine that would have been kind of hard to sell. Not in the fact of like difficult actually selling it, but like getting rid of that piece of history that you own.
Right.
Had to have been not the easiest decision.
Yep. That I completely agree. So these shoes were the most expensive game-worn shoe of all time, but not the most expensive shoes that were ever sold. Any guesses?
Is it a basketball shoe
Nope.
you're talking about?
Nope. This is a pop culture. It's an artist, it's a music artist, not like an art artist.
I don't know, man. The whole like shoe culture
is wild,
nutty.
I don't get it. At all.
No, I kind of get it, but I don't know, man.
Maybe a little bit.
The shoe game is crazy.
It is.
What is the most expensive shoe ever sold, though?
So the most expensive shoe ever sold were Yeezy 1 prototypes.
Oh,
that Kanye West
that makes sense.
Publicly revealed and wore at the 2008 Grammys.
Because they're another like one of one, I bet.
Yeah, exactly. And they were sold in April for $1.8 million.
I mean, I get it. Makes sense.
Yeah, if you have the money, if I won the lottery, there's a lot of things I would probably buy that people would be like, "What an absolute moron!" And then I would laugh in their face and say, "I have the money to do this, and you don't."
True. I get that it's a Yeezy. I mean, look at
right
where Yeezys are at now and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
good for Kanye,
it does make sense. Didn't he just change his name? Did Kanye just change his name?
He changed his name?
Yeah. Right? Are you checking that for me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm pretty sure he did. It's not surprising. He's kind of
crazy.
Yes,
Kanye West officially changes his name to Ye. Y-E.
Y-E. And that's all right.
I mean,
again,
that was kind of his
yeah,
side name for the longest time. But
that's fair. I don't understand it. I would never change my name, but people are going to do what people are going to do.
I don't know. Look at Meta World Peace. I mean,
he's
that
also
was some crazy
a freak.
Stuff.
He's crazy. Actually, just this year in the NFL, Janoris Jenkins, a cornerback for the Tennessee Titans, he is now officially Jackrabbit Jenkins. Because he can. Literally because he can. And again, these guys make millions of dollars playing sports. So I don't care. And now on to we were talking about the Mariners news about people being better when they leave. This is literally a perfect example. So Mike Zunino, now a catcher for the Tampa Bay Rays. He, in 2019 and 2020, hit 161 with 13 home runs. Oh, yeah, there he is. There's our old catcher there. In 19 and 20, he hit a combined 161 with a 323 on-base plus slugging with 13 home runs in 373 plate appearances. And then the Rays ended up declining his $4.5 million option. He ended up finding his way back to Tampa Bay for a 1-year, $3 million deal. That included a 2022 club option. This season, he's now 30, he turned 30 this year. This season, he belted 33 home runs for a 3.7 WAR, which is probably one of the best in baseball as far as catchers go. He did that in 109 games. He earned an all-star, not in the process. That's frustrating. Mike Zunino was one of the best. He won the Golden Spikes Award in college baseball, which essentially is the MVP of college baseball. Came to Seattle, blew through the minors, probably too fast for a catcher. He got brought up and then nothing. Didn't do anything. He sucked. Really best defensive catcher in baseball, arguably. But again, there's a perfect example of another Mariners player leaving Seattle and just finding their potential for the first time in their career. Again, he's 30 years old. It took him 10-plus years in the pros to be able to find it. But I also do love me some Mike Z. So I am happy for him to be succeeding. But it's also still extremely frustrating. Very much frustrating. What else is going on in the world of sports today? AP preseason AP nominations came out, or predictions, I should say. Drew Timme was the only unanimous preseason AP All-American. Obviously, Gonzaga's Drew Timme, their center, kind of power forward, kind of a stretch. He's not a stretch forward because he can't really shoot, but he did spend all offseason, I guess, working on his shooting in Texas. He was a preseason All-American, along with Illinois big man Kofi Coburn, UCLA's Johnny Juzang, Villanova's Colin Gillespie, and Indiana forward Tracy Jackson Davis. By the way, Sam, can you put on the screen, just like even on a lower third, you hear the name Coburn. Can you please spell the way you think Coburn would be spelt for me?
Just Coburn?
Coburn, yep. Coburn.
I guess Coburn.
Right, that would make sense, right?
Yeah.
Can you type this word out for me?
Yeah.
This is how his last name is spelled.
Do you want it as like a...
Just put on the lower third, like it's me. Sure, like it's me.
Hold on a second. I got to get that set up real quick.
This is... It's not... I know what... You'll see it. When you spell it out, you're going to be like, how does this guy say it's Coburn? But you'll also understand why he does say Coburn, because there's a reason for it. Are you ready for me? Yeah. Cockburn. Go ahead and toss that up there. Coburn.
That's a little rough.
Please show me anywhere in any language where a CK is silent.
Only when that's your name.
Only when your name is Cockburn. That's the only time. That's the only time a CK is silent in any language is when your last name is Cockburn.
I don't know. I'm sure. Do you know what his ethnicity is?
That's a good question.
It says he's Jamaican.
Not a chance that. Find it. Jamaican word with CK. You think something will come up here? Just trying to come up with swear words. Jamaican swear words. Yeah. There's just no way. There's literally no way that in Jamaican culture, CK.
Wait, hold on a second.
Did you find something?
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. Don't say anything.
What'd you do? Was that just through Google?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me turn the speaker on so you can hear it.
See?
Yeah, even Google says.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else could hear that but you and me, but it definitely said.
It said Cockburn.
And so the pronunciation, it sounds like it's pronounced like the pronunciation breakdown is Kowfee, Kofi, and then Kaakbrn. So Kofi Cockburn.
Cockburn. Little East Coast Cockburn there.
I don't know, man. It could just. But that's also Google being like, this is how you say it, and it's Google, so...
Google never lies, right? We should trust Google with everything we have.
I do believe that is accurate.
Yeah.
I believe that's the only way to do it.
That is the only way. That's the way to live your life. So Timme was interviewed after, I think one of the, I don't know who, he must have been interviewed here by John Marshall, an AP writer. Anyway, he said, I love it here. It's a great place. It's where I want to be. When I do something, I feel like I have to be the best version of myself, and I felt that there are some things I needed to work on in order to accomplish that. Coach Few pushes me every day. We had some talks, and I felt that it was the best move for me, the most logical move, especially with talking with my coach and family. So that must have actually been after he decided to come back back to GU. He's 6'10". Like I said, he spent most of the offseason working on his perimeter game. Probably the best footwork in the country. Not a super strong rebounder, not a great post presence as far as on the defensive end. But he has a very good chance of making it in some regard in the NBA just based off of his paint presence on the offensive end is unique. But like I said, only unanimous guy in the country. McWhippy is kind of upset because he didn't get an email saying that we were live. That's not our fault. That's not our fault, right? Sam, is that your fault?
No. I mean, it might be Andrew's fault, but...
it's definitely Andrew's fault, actually. Let's definitely do that. All right, we're going to get a little political here. That's exciting, right?
Always.
And what's unfortunate, though, is that this shouldn't be a political discussion, the discussion we're about to have. But for some reason, it has turned political, and that's vaccines. Isn't that awesome when something that has nothing to do with politics ends up becoming more political than anything else?
Gotta love it.
I just don't understand it. I think people should do what they want at this point, just based off of, you can get sick with the vaccine or not. The best thing that the vaccine does is prevent you from getting extra sick and going to the hospital. And I'm not saying don't get vaccinated. I'm vaccinated. It's probably a good thing to do. But it's really unfortunate when politicians get involved and determine if you have the right to work or not based off of your vaccination status. And I understand that there's a lot of vaccines that people take in order to go to school. Measles, mumps, rubella, polio. There's a lot of vaccines out there that people are required to have in order to work. What's really unfortunate is that Washington State head coach Nick Rolovich was fired this past week after having his religious exemption declined by the state. The university said that even if it was approved, that they would not have made accommodations for him to continue working for the university. Washington State at the time was 3-3. They did just lose this past weekend to BYU. I guess I just don't, and Sam, maybe you have a different thought. I don't understand. I don't know. Polio is different because that was eradicated. It's already very well established, and people have discussed that COVID-19 will never be eradicated because it's going to be like a seasonal kind of flu that, it's still going to be floating around in whatever regard, unless they do find a cure. Like the polio vaccine, you can't get polio, right? Am I right there? I think so. How many cases of polio in the world are there every year?
I think, and again, I could be incredibly wrong because I'm also.
You're not a scientist? You're not a doctor?
Only on every other Thursday.
Oh, okay.
But isn't it? Because it's so you're talking like the polio vaccine,
right?
I don't think it cures. I'm pretty sure it just is essentially a
right. You're right.
Well done preventative.
You're right because you don't take the vaccine. Like if you get polio or if someone has polio, you don't give them the vaccine and it doesn't cure them. You're right. So it essentially, but I think it guarantees you that you can't get it. Essentially, I think it protects your body in that way. So I don't understand the vaccine mandate. What's also crazy is they always, politicians said you can't do a mandate because it's just going to piss people off. And weird, that's what it did. So it's really unfortunate that a guy like Nick Rolovich, who already was having just difficulties in general coaching a competent football team, made strides over the last few weeks to make a pretty solid Cougar football team. Was, like I said, ended up getting fired. He is suing the university for wrongful termination, which is something interesting to watch, in my opinion, because I feel like in a contract it says you should get, you have to be vaccinated and have all these things. I think it's surprising that the state can come through and dictate after the fact what you need to do to follow policy. I feel like most jobs, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird as a public state employee because like a private business can do whatever they want essentially. As long as anti-discriminatory stuff you can't do, but as a public state employee, it's just super interesting to see them mandating things after the fact. So essentially, the reason why I brought all this up, aside from the fact that he was fired since we last had a show, he was fired the day actually, last Monday after the show. Anyway, a lot of players were interviewed about Rolovich. A lot of social media stuff was shared from players. After the game last week, a video that was shared by WSU social media, there were a circle of Cougar players surrounding Rolovich, chanting Rolo over and over and over again. WSU player Jalen Watson shared an image of him and Rolovich hugging after their win over Stanford last week, essentially with just a broken heart emoji. And then he also wrote, "This man changed my life in so many ways, a real stand-up dude that always stands on what he believes in his heart. His heart was so pure and a true role model to me and my teammates, was always bigger than a dollar sign, which is the only thing you wrap your fingers around," which also is a good point because he's missing out on a couple $1 million worth of a contract over the next couple of years. So, I mean, a big stand. Would you do that, Sam? If you had a couple $1 million, how many things would you not do for a couple $1 million?
Dude,
not much out there.
Yeah,
that's a hard thing to say no to.
It's a hard thing to say no to.
Very hard thing to say no to. Watson also lamented the criticism Rolovich has undergone since announcing in late July he was refusing the COVID-19 vaccine. He said everyone bashes this man day in and day out like he's not human or has feelings, forcing him to have no friends. All he had was us, and all we had was him. Love you forever. Their starting quarterback, Jaden DeLora, has a unique relationship with Rolovich. Essentially, he was the only guy to offer DeLora a scholarship out of high school. He ended up following him to WSU. This was his statement. Words cannot express our profound sadness and disappointment in the termination of our coach. Playing for him was a great honor that all of us will cherish forever. He put trust in me and allowed me to grow as a man, both on and off the field. For that reason, we strongly disagree with today's decision. Everybody, I mean, there was, and I retweeted a lot, pretty much players defending their former head coach. What's crazy is the athletic director came out, Pat Shannon, and said that he apologized for hiring him for creating this distraction. Yet all the players said, it wasn't a distraction. He was our head coach, and we played for him because of the fact that what they're saying is that they loved him. He was their head coach. Liam Ryan, starting left tackle, said, "I stand behind this warrior of God forever. Thank you for everything." Renard Bell, who spent this entire season recovering from a torn ACL, his caption said, "Nothing but love." Punter, crazy to think that a year ago I was back in Australia not knowing what to do with my life, and Coach Rolo took a chance on me. He was my coach, my mate, and most importantly, my mentor, and taught me valuable life lessons that will always be with me. Not only did our team lose coaches, we lost friends, mentors, role models, most of all family members. Thank you. I mean, it's crazy, all of these players who support their head coach and said how great of a guy he was, and yet he's portrayed by the media, he's portrayed by his own athletic director, by other members of the university, the president, the board of regents. I mean, everybody across the university has been, just wrecking Rolovich over the last few months, but more specifically over the last week. And yet his players, the other Cougs, are there saying, they're shocked. They're shocked that this was even a controversy in the first place. Obviously, they understood the controversy, but they obviously were upset that he was terminated. So it'll be interesting to see how this lawsuit goes over the next. I mean, it's going to take a long time. There's so many lawsuits out there in regards to the COVID vaccine mandate, but I'll be very interested to see what ends up happening with that.
Good for the players for being like,
right,
nah, man.
Right. Like, I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me on a public level. I mean, Seattle today just confirmed that, you have to have a negative test or a vaccine, your vaccine card, to do anything. Like all of King County, you can't go into restaurants, you can't go into gyms, you can't go into movie theaters. I mean, everything in King County, coffee shops. I mean, you can't do anything without proof of a negative test or a vaccine card. It's a very interesting time. Again, I'm vaccinated. I've been vaccinated. It's surprising, these mandates and these barriers put into place to allow Americans no access to basic liberties as far as going out and doing things. So again, without getting too in depth with everything, I mean, you can really go into that rabbit hole. I think businesses mandating whatever they want, I really don't care. They have that right. I just don't believe that the public, the government should kind of come down the way that they have in all of this situation, especially considering where the vaccines are. I think they're almost to 70% nationwide now, aren't they?
I do not know. I can find out real quick.
USA, let's see if we can find it here. Vaccination percentage. Because it's just so frustrating because the goalposts keep changing, and I think that's what's frustrating people the most. But yeah, if you want to look here, so almost 70% have at least one dose. So it means essentially that they're probably going to get the second one. So fully vaccinated is about 60% is what it looks like.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing over here, somewhere around a 60% mark.
Most of the people who aren't vaccinated either, this was from the New York Times, most of the people who aren't vaccinated are below the poverty line. So there's obviously an issue with the government and the health officials getting to the right sort of populations in order to get this thing handled. So the fact that they're punishing people for something that they're having a problem with is just really interesting, in my opinion. But whatever, like I said, there's so much more you can talk about that. Anyway, I just we'll see what Rolovich ends up doing with that. I haven't talked any baseball as far as like the playoffs. I told Andrew last week that we would talk more playoff baseball, but I don't. It's so exhausting after the Mariners went through that crazy run and had a chance to potentially make the playoffs. I've just been so out of the baseball playoffs. It is confirmed Astros will be playing the Braves for the World Series. First game's tomorrow at 5:09. It's a stupid time. p.m. Pacific time. I don't want the Astros to win. I hope they get swept. I hope the Braves walk all over them. Like I said, game one's tomorrow. Then they play Wednesday. They play Friday. And then Saturday could be the final game of the World Series if someone ends up sweeping. I just don't want the Astros to win it. I hate seeing the Astros be successful. They came into the AL West 6 years ago now, maybe. They were supposed to be so bad, and they're so good, and I hate it. It makes me so sad to see them do so well because I hate the Astros very, very much. The Braves have nicer players. All the Astros just come off as so pompous. I hate Carlos Correa. I hate Jose Altuve. Literally, you go from top to bottom. There's a lot of guys I don't like. They have guys who are playing really well who shouldn't be playing well, probably because they're a good team, and I don't want to admit that, but they are. I just hope they lose. I really hope they lose. I want the Braves to win. Braves last won the World Series, I think, in early 2000. No,
1999?
95.
95.
95. So they
Took a guess.
They went to the World Series in 99, but they lost to the... That doesn't make sense. They played... Oh, okay, there we go. That's what I thought. They played the Yankees, and they got swept. Ouch. In 99. That happens. The Yankees can do that. And guess who was on that? Derek Jeter, Mariano Rivera.
Yankees did be doing that.
They did do that. That's crazy. The Braves had Glavine, Tom Glavine, obviously Maddox and Smoltz, that three-headed monster there at the top of the rotation. Obviously Chipper Jones. The Braves are just such a nice franchise, right? Like you compare that. Their manager at the time was Bobby Cox. Compare that to Joe Torre, and they had A-Rod on the Yankees for a while. Obviously Jason Giambi, a lot of guys who people just didn't like. Very, very different. McWhippy brought up a good point. Yeah, he wants to know where Andrew is. Wants to know if he's getting a new hairstyle. That's pretty good.
That is a good one. I didn't think of anything witty for his excuse today. We just said he's out because of work.
Right? I just said, should we kill him? That was all I had. I know I couldn't think of anything either. But we'll see if he shows up. If he wants to show his face here ever again, we'll see.
There will be a live stream bare knuckle boxing fight between Justin and Andrew. We're still trying to schedule a date, but
Yeah, we're trying to get the money figured out. We got to make sure we're both vaccinated, of course. I don't want to fight a guy who's unvaccinated. Andrew is vaccinated.
I do not know.
I don't know, actually. I think he is. We talked. Anyway, I don't care. I really don't care. People can do what they want. I'm pretty sure he is, but I really don't care. That's the problem. That's the entire problem is like you're looked down as like other people will look down on you for not being vaccinated. Like that just seems so weird. I don't know. I know there's been a lot of death. A lot of people have lost loved ones. But blaming people, it just seems so weird to me. I don't know. People go out and kill people with the flu every year. And I don't know. I've gone to work sick in the past. I don't think I've killed anybody, right? I hope I haven't killed anybody, but like, I don't know. It's very odd. And like requiring, never mind.
It's a whole conversation for a
never
whole different
mind.
day.
It's a very funny time in our lives in this very odd world. The rest of the world has so many other problems too. You could really talk forever with what's going on around the world.
Can I get your detailed thoughts on LeBron James?
On LeBron James. So I should have put him as my jabroni. Good point. Let's talk about that real quick. He got bumped in the knee yesterday, and he was down for a couple minutes, like he couldn't walk, and then he went and played the rest of the game. He was fine. He just milked it. I hate LeBron.
You disliking LeBron?
No, never. All right, let's get to some fun stuff here. Let's look at the Barstool Does Football Guys of the Week, and we have some great ones here. Let's go ahead and put up that college player, the Purdue player who was playing Iowa. Let's put his photo up on the screen here. That's sick. So essentially, if you can probably read this, but I'll read it anyway. A fan tossed a can of Bud Light onto the field, and that's not Bud Light. Okay, that is Bud Light. That looks like a really dark can. You see that?
It could be. Does Bud Light actually sponsor Purdue or like sponsor anything in their stadium? It could be like a custom can kind of thing.
Dark can. I mean, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a seltzer. Could be are there seltzer cans black or darker? I don't know. Oh, no, yeah, it could be a seltzer.
Yeah, it could be the Budweiser Select.
Ooh, I do see that.
It could be a seltzer, though.
If you're drinking a Budweiser Select at a football game, all props to you. That's a very interesting beer. But anyway, that's sick. They tossed it on the field. He saw it. Then he dumped it all over his face. I what would be even better is if he was like 20 and he did it because he could.
No, dude, the best part is that he's number 69.
That is true. He's number 69. That is one of the more iconic photos of all time. He's a redshirt senior, so yeah, he's plenty old enough. Still awesome. Still really cool. Big football guy for sure. All right, let's do the next one. The high school football player here. Nice. So, again, if you can't read this, that's James Poulos. This was, I don't know where, Calvary Christian Academy. Let's see where that's at. He essentially was coughing up blood before the game. That's in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He was coughing up blood before the game, and it was the homecoming game, obviously a very massive game for him. So he ended up biting his lip, making it look like his lip was split open, and that's why there was blood coming out of his mouth, not his lungs. That's big. That's big time. Super dangerous, probably.
Oh, incredibly.
Probably
a horrible decision, but
incredible.
I
would hope he went and got his lungs checked out. That's not good to be coughing up blood in any regard. There's never a situation where you're coughing up blood and people are like, "Oh, you're fine. That's not a big deal." There's nothing wrong with that. Still awesome. Still a big football guy. So good for him, I guess, as long as he didn't die. We'll move in the NFL here. We had our picks done this last week, and Andrew cheated, I think, and he went 9-3, and I'm 7-5 right now. So we're currently tied on the season. Whatever our totals are, we're both tied. It comes down to tonight. Seahawks play the Saints. He picked the Saints like an idiot, and I picked the Seahawks because the Seahawks are going to win. I'll pick the Seahawks every single game because they're going to win every game.
Didn't you beat him pretty good last year in the picks?
I was up for most of the season by 7 games, I think. And I want to say he came back in the final. I don't know if we picked playoff games or not, but he came back, and I think I ended up winning by a couple games. But
yeah, you guys are real neck and neck this year.
Yeah, it's very tightly contested, which is unfortunate because I'm better at this than he is, so I don't know what's going on.
Well, apparently not, because you're tired.
He's not here to defend himself, so that guy's trash. That guy is
true.
Straight trash. I'm not even scared. Actually, when I was picking these games, I thought to myself, I'm going to pick the ones that are there's just a very low chance that I'll be right. But if I'm right, it's going to look really awesome because I just don't even care.
Seahawks game.
I don't even care. No, not like the Seahawks game. Not at all like the Seahawks game, Sam. I am so confident. The Seahawks are 5-point underdogs right now, I think.
You're really lobbing some of these up for me today, man.
Well, I have to get you involved somehow, right?
I appreciate it.
Seahawks-Saints line. Let's see here. Let's see what we got. I don't care about the money line. What do we got? I think it was 5 points as of a couple days ago. When you don't have your starting quarterback or running back, people don't seem to want to pick you. I guess that makes sense.
Did you make a bet with Vinny at all?
I shouldn't I? If he was a true friend, he'd be watching, and he would actually message me and be like, "Hey, let's make a bet." I'm getting a bunch of Alec Baldwin memes sent to me right now. That's a wild situation. Speaking of movies,
wild, yeah. I feel that's a rough situation, man.
That is. I don't know how that happens. I don't. Just with knowing my own policies on guns in general. I don't know
how. Prop gun too, which is even. I know that prop guns can be lethal at close range,
right?
Obviously, I don't think the whole situation has come out yet, but just the fact that someone.
I don't know how prop guns can be lethal because blanks are just gunpowder casings. There's no bullet, so I don't know how it could be lethal still, right? Logically, it seems like it shouldn't be dangerous. It should just combust inside of the chamber. And it expels a little bit of gunpowder and it would probably expel maybe some hot air.
I don't know. It's such a rare occurrence. I think the last thing that happened like this was. Do you remember Brandon Lee from The Crow?
Yes.
So he was. Did you ever see the movie The Crow?
Yes.
So he was the guy who played the Crow.
Yeah, I was gonna say this was back in mid-90s,
94,
right?
95, somewhere in there. Same thing happened to him. Prop gun, and it killed him. But I mean, this is the second occurrence in 20-something years.
Right.
But still, it's
okay. Yeah,
it's
that's
interesting to see. Like, it's crazy how that would even happen.
Oh, it is crazy.
It's sad too.
It is sad because I was gonna make a bad joke. It is in general, yeah, because that just shouldn't happen. There's just no way guns don't accidentally kill people. People accidentally kill people. First off, because that there should never been a situation where a gun with the potential to kill someone was pointed at somebody, right? Like there's multiple steps. You look at all of the guys, all the prop gun guys. I think it's called an armorer, right? Is that what I read, right? Like
I believe so,
or something along those lines. Like there's a
Something
guy.
along those lines, yeah.
There's
the prop master,
right? And then I think underneath him is guys who or women who do like the subsections of props, right? So from everything that I've heard is that there's multiple steps that go along with making sure something is safe to be used on set. Like that's almost as bad as like saying, hey, here's this glass bottle, or here we go. Here's the sword. Here's the sword. I promise you it's not metal. Go ahead and stab someone. You'll be just fine. Like that's how bad this is. There's supposed to be steps along the way where this isn't supposed to happen, and yet it happened. All right, well, let's get back to some sports as we talk about deaths on movie productions.
Feels good.
I love talking death. Get me going about death. I'll talk all day. We go from COVID to guns to there's all sorts of things coming on the show.
This is a real tangent intensive podcast.
Very charged up today. So again, Seahawks play the Saints tonight, Monday Night Football at home. Seattle's had some rough goes both on primetime and at home over the last few games, considering they're one of the best teams in the NFL over the last decade in those sort of situations. Some good news is Russell Wilson is way ahead on his recovery. He has a potential of removing the pins this coming week. Pete Carroll called Wilson a great healer, which is super true considering he's never missed a game in his NFL history until last week. NFL career probably is a better way to put that. So really good news on him. He'll probably still not come back until after the bye, which would be week 10 against Green Bay, which would be a really good time to get him back if that does in fact end up happening. We'll see what happens. Jameis Winston doesn't really scare me. I want to see him attack deep down the field. I want to see if the secondary can handle it after their decent showing last week against Big Ben. But the problem is Ben Roethlisberger doesn't have the kind of arm that Jameis does. He also doesn't make the kind of mistakes that Jameis does, which is hoping that we'll be able to grab a couple picks. My prediction is Seattle wins. Saints defense is pretty good. I'm going to say Seattle wins. I think Geno's going to have a better week. Seattle wins 24-23, Seattle. Yeah, I'm confident. 24-23, lock it in. Seattle wins tonight against the Saints. Big things to watch will be how the Seattle defense can deal, or offensive line can deal with the pass rush of the Saints. How Geno kind of responds to not quite losing the last two games, but being the last play of the last two games, not being able to drive the Seattle into position to win. Alex Collins will be playing, which is nice. He's banged up. We'll probably see some Rashad Penny. Obviously see some DJ Dallas, Travis Homer. We'll see if Lockett and Metcalf can open up some space, get some of these tight ends involved as well. On the defensive end, the pass rush has to wake up. Darrell Taylor is a game-time decision with his stiff neck after being carted off the field last week. That'll be nice to get him back, and it's nice that he isn't paralyzed or dead. More death. There's a lot of death talk. Are we okay today, Sam?
I don't know, man.
Maybe it's just the vibe. Maybe just the vibe isn't great right now or something. So, yes. All right. I was going to talk. What am I missing out here? I was going to talk a little bit more about this week's games. I was going to talk about last week's games, but I don't want to. I don't have the time to. Instead, I'm going to talk about my other favorite business. Not my second favorite, my other favorite, and that's Windermere. Windermere services Mountain West, proudly services over 60 Windermere offices in eastern Washington, Idaho, eastern Oregon, and Montana. They are all in for their local communities. At Windermere Services Mountain West, relationships are the foundation of their business. Their mission is to be successful, team-oriented real estate professionals committed to exceeding expectations through exceptional customer service. They are Windermere. Windermere Services Mountain West is committed to the communities in which they live and work. They are all in for you and us and their community, as they said. Windermere Services Mountain West, utilize them for all of your home buying and property needs. All right, let's jump into the closing segments of the show here. Let's start off with my jabroni, and I need to figure out what his name is before I before I talk about him. His name is, someone went and found him. His name is Byron Kennedy. He is 29, and he is a resident at Largo Medical Center in Largo, Florida. He's a resident at Largo Medical Center? So maybe, does he live in a hospital? What is that?
I hold on,
Right?
let me find out.
Largo Medical Center. That sounds like a hospital. Now that I'm thinking about it, that doesn't make any sense.
It
Yeah.
is definitely a medical center.
He's a resident at a hospital.
Oh, isn't a resident?
He's doing his residency,
Yeah.
maybe? Okay.
that-
I like to think that he's
probably
a
took-
resident. I
that
like to
probably
think
took us too long to like connect.
I
but
think he's a resident. I'm gonna continue that theme. I think he lives at the hospital.
I like it. I like
That's
it.
more fun. I like to think of it like maybe he's in like the psychiatric ward. This because then the story actually makes a little more sense as to what happened. So essentially, last night or yesterday, Tom Brady threw his 600th career touchdown pass, which is an NFL record. No one has ever touched 600 before. And that was tossed to Mike Evans. Mike Evans didn't realize, I guess, that Tom Brady was 2 touchdown passes away. That was the second touchdown pass of the game. He ended up finding a guy in the first row with a Mike Evans jersey and gave him Tom Brady's 600th touchdown pass ball. Not a super smart decision. Could have been very detrimental in the for Brady to get that ball back. But instead, the guy decided to give it back because it's Tom Brady, and Tom Brady wanted it. And, quote, he said, what did he say exactly? Oh, yeah. I was hesitant to give it back. I knew how much it meant to Tom, and I was willing to trade. And he traded, allegedly, a signed jersey for the ball. We were talking about sports memorabilia earlier, right? Right, Sam?
Indeed, we were.
How much have you looked up pricing at all on this?
No, but I can real quick.
I know what it is. I'll tell you what it is. A professional in this field of sports memorabilia said, so it's Ezra Levine, CEO of the sports memorabilia investment platform Collectible, declared that the ball is worth easily $500,000 plus and probably closer to $750,000.
Wow.
And that guy gave it up for a signed jersey worth $5,000 maybe, if it's game worn, maybe.
Yeah, who knows if it was even game worn.
He gave up. He had literally. Let's make it $500K. That's easy. He was holding a $500,000 check in his hands, and he's like, "I want to trade this for $5,000."
Well, the crazy thing is too, like, I get why he gave it back. I understand why he did that, but so we're saying minimum $500K,
Minimum, but probably closer to $750.
and who knows? There could be Brady could have been like, "Here, I'll just give you $1 million for it."
I'll give you $1 million.
Yeah, crazy.
Giselle makes that on a weekend, and he just gave it away. Tony Romo was on the call. He joked that he should have bargained for a date with Giselle.
That's pretty good.
Which actually he's getting some flack for.
Really?
On social media. Yeah. Yeah, people are saying that's sexist. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Sam, you can't make jokes anymore, man. You know that.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Again, more death. more death.
No. I just don't want to live here.
You'd rather live somewhere else. That's fair.
Yeah, I'm trying to live on Mars, man.
Yeah. If you want to be the first one, go ahead.
I'm gonna run there.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, I don't know what this guy was thinking. Yeah. Okay, so the reason why he said minimum $500,000. So, in June, a ball was sold. It was Tom Brady's first touchdown pass. That sold in June for more than $428,000. So let's say minimum that ball was worth $428,000. But it's probably more given its historic accomplishment, is what the guy from Collectible said.
It's got to be worth way more
Yep.
than what his first, because it's a record record-breaking ball that potentially we could never see broken.
Right, exactly. So an unused signed jersey and autograph photo would be lacking by about $497.05, the guy said. Not good. Not good at all. That's a horrible trade. That's my financial advisor would not be happy if I made a deal like that. So I'm sure people are all in his ear. You're right. I don't care who wants it. I don't care if Jesus Christ himself came down and said, give the ball to Tom Brady, and said, nope. Sorry, I'd like $500,000 for it. Minimum, by the way, minimum for that. So that guy is a jabroni, the guy who lives at the hospital in Florida. Jabroni for the day. All right, on this day in sports history, there were two great ones today. This day in sports history in 1972, Eddie Merck from Belgium was on a bike. In 1 hour, he covered 30 miles. That doesn't seem possible, unless it's all downhill.
Man was zooming.
That's very impressive. The other one that's super hilarious, on this date in 1621, Governor Bradford, head of the colony of the American Plymouth, disallows sport on Christmas Day. No sports on Christmas. That guy sucks. Governor Bradford. I'm going to look him up. I want to see what happened with Governor Bradford.
Well, more than likely, he's dead.
You think?
He might still be kicking, but probably not.
William Bradford. He died in 1657. So
wow, he must have been like pretty old for being in the 1600s.
So he was 67 when he died.
Dang, that's pretty.
So he made that rule at age 31. Let's see if there's anything else about him here that's really interesting. He was born in Yorkshire, West Riding of Yorkshire. Started a separation congregation, and he boarded the Speedwell. I want to see how he died. Oh, he lost his first wife on the exploring party. Dorothy, not good. Let's see what else here. I want to see how he died. There's more death. There we go. Died on May 9th, 1657. Was buried at Burial Hill in Plymouth. State inventory. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't say how he died. Probably just old age. All right. Closing time here. Here's a little video that I want everyone to listen to. This was the great Mike Ditka back in the day. He was on a radio show. What do you want?
So he made that rule in 1621.
Right.
The first Thanksgiving happened in 1621.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that is a fun fact.
That's kind of crazy.
So
they had Thanksgiving, and then we're like no sports, dog.
No sports. Can't do it on Christmas. He was a very religious man, I guess. And then now we're like, let's do football on Christmas, NBA on Christmas, hockey on Christmas. Let's get as many sports as possible on Christmas Day. We just don't care anymore.
Bird to Governor Bradford.
Bradford is rolling in his grave right now. Probably not because his body's completely disintegrated. But if he did have a body, he'd be rolling. All right, do you want to play that video of Mike Ditka for me of Da Bears?
He's fired almost as many verbal attacks as his team has wins. He's publicly ripped his quarterback, a newspaper reporter, and now a fan who had some choice words for Iron Mike during a radio talk show.
Why did it appear that Mike was holding back, trying not to cry like the baby that he is?
Well, Neil, I tell you, what you are, I can't say on the air. But I tell you what, I'm 53 years old, and my office is at 250 North Washington. Anytime you want to meet me there, you call me back on the air. You tell me what time and when, and I'll whip your ass. You got that, big boy? It's easy to hide behind a microphone, son. Let's get your face out in public and let's live where people have to see you every day, and we'll see who the gutless wonder is.
So I found that video today, and I had to play it. Mike Ditka is just the stereotypical classic old NFL player.
The Bears.
He was number 89 and 98 for the Bears. 6'3", 228 is what his playing weight was, I guess. But he's 82 now. Whew. He cannot have much time left. Have you ever seen the movie Kicking and Screaming?
Oh, yeah.
Will Ferrell?
Oh, yeah.
He has a great part in that. He was super funny. So essentially, I brought up the Bears. So now my friend AJ can't give me a hard time about not talking about the Bears again, even though they got. Speaking of the Bucs and Brady, got absolutely eviscerated by Brady and the Bucs yesterday. That happens. They're a good team. It is what it is. But that video just made me laugh. You can't do that anymore, I feel like. I feel like that gets you canceled. I don't know. I'm just again, there's a lot we can talk about, but Ditka was a stud. He still is a stud. And it's videos like that remind me why Iron Mike is one of the coolest people on this planet. All right. Well, we made it about an hour. Not bad. 55 minutes.
I like it.
So talked about all sorts of stuff. Let's see if we have any breaking news right here. I don't really think so. The Rams made a trade with the Broncos. Just a linebacker. Doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Sounders lost. Yeah, Sounders lost. Sporting Kansas City still first place in the West. Man City won. Kraken actually, we'll talk about them just for a quick second. Kraken had a unfortunate start to their home schedule. They lost 4-2 Saturday, I think.
I think it was Saturday. That seems right.
Saturday sounds right. But they still look competitive, I guess. They just gave up another third period lead, which is unfortunate. Eastern lost to Weber State, an upset. Weber State was 2-4. Eastern was 6-0. They go on a bye this week. They play Montana State on November 3rd, November 5th, November 4th, somewhere in there. November 6th. I knew I'd get there eventually. Not a great loss for them. They gave up 3 fake punts. High school sports are still rolling. All sorts of fun stuff going on. I'll have a story in the paper tomorrow, Sam. Check it out.
I'm good.
Former Meade runner, cross-country distance runner, ran at UW, then became a professional runner down in Arizona, got hired as an assistant coach at Notre Dame.
Wow, that's actually pretty cool.
So, yeah, not bad. Yeah, kind of gave you a little local update there. I want to do more local stuff, I feel like.
I'm down.
I feel like people need to know what's going on sports-wise in our community. Andy Pybus was commenting on YouTube earlier. He played soccer at Meade, by the way. Fun fact. Nice guy. All right. This show is just so much better without Andrew.
Yeah, man. You know, you and I got the voice of reason and mama's boy. We out here.
We are ready to wrap up.
So you're going to dress up next week, right?
Well, that's what he said. So my costume I bought was supposed to be Ron Burgundy.
Okay.
But Ron Burgundy at the pool party. Remember how he had
with like the bathrobe and the underwear?
Yeah. So I did that. People thought I was Hugh Hefner, which I can kind of see.
I guess like the open robe would probably scream more Hugh Hefner.
Right.
I guess it depends on the robe, though.
Right. I closed it up. I just wore like these really short black shorts that we wore as a joke back in high school.
Yeah.
We did a basketball league, and we were Mean Machine. We all wore super short shorts because it was the funny thing to do back then. But I had a wood pipe. I had a glass of whiskey, or scotch if you want to be technical. And people were like, "Oh, you're Hugh Hefner." I'm like, I guess, sure, you can see me as that. Like, it's still kind of funny. Like, it's not a bad costume still.
Yeah.
But I was definitely Ron Burgundy. So, depending on what Andrew wants to do,
I think he said we're dressing up. I mean, I will come in garb.
Oh, I don't know what his deal was. He said he didn't want to dress up. He didn't want anything on his face or head or whatever. And then all of a sudden he's like, "But we're gonna dress up next week." And it's like, what was wrong with today?
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll have to ask.
Are you doing anything for Halloween?
Good question. So Halloween's Sunday.
Yeah.
Friday going to Scarywood.
Nice.
Saturday going to my cousin's house. She holds Halloween party every year. Sunday on Halloween day, just Seahawks during the day. And then at night, I'll probably stay with the roommates and we'll watch a scary movie. You know what movie I might watch? There's 3 that I'm thinking. I'm either going to watch the first Conjuring, I haven't seen it in a while.
Good one.
I'm going to watch the first Insidious, potentially.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Or the very original Nightmare on Elm Street.
Ooh, that's a classic.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
That's a classic.
Because last year we watched the first Halloween, also a classic.
Mm-hmm. Did the new Halloween just come out?
It did, and I just watched it. It's actually good.
I heard it was decent.
You know what it is actually? It's a kind of a filler because it's a trilogy.
Yeah.
The new one. So it's kind of like a filler. Like we're going to go from the first movie to the third movie. We have to put the stuff to kind of tie it together. I'm trying to think of there's a trilogy that just did that, and people are kind of upset because the second movie wasn't very good. I don't remember what they said. Anyway, yeah, it wasn't bad. What are you doing?
I think I'm not 100% sure. I think we're going over to Vinny's.
Nice.
I'm not 100% sure.
What are you dressing up as this year?
Girlfriend and I are dressing up as Bob and Linda from Bob's Burgers.
Oh, right. I knew that.
Yeah.
We saw that. Okay, or I saw that. Check out your Instagram.
Probably watch some scary movies.
That's on Sunday or Saturday?
Sunday, I'm pretty sure. Speaking of Halloween, like the movies,
right?
I wish Rob Zombie would come back and make the Halloween movies again.
There's a lot of people,
those were so good.
Right. There's a lot of people throughout some of these classic slasher movies that just don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And
he goes on and he has like his own series that he does.
Right. Yeah, he's doing
which is like the Lords of Salem, the Three from Hell, Devil's Rejects, like those ones.
Yeah,
Devil's Rejects was a good movie.
Was it?
Yeah, that was a good one.
What are some of the other movies he's done? I'll have to look.
He did House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh yeah, Halloween 2.
He did like the first, or he did like I think 3 Halloweens. No, 2 Halloweens.
2, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of things I wish, like a lot of people that I wish would come back and do some of these. I love scary movies. I'm a big proponent of being. I don't get scared, but I'm a big proponent of getting other people scared.
You ever watched The Nun?
The Nun?
Yeah. I think that was in the Conjuring line.
It was. So that's off of the Conjuring universe. I started it, and I think I fell asleep or something, and I never went back and watched the rest
I liked
of it.
The Nun.
That's
a
creepy character. It's a very creepy character. I think my sister's going to dress up as kind of that sort of character this year.
Nice.
Do the white face, white makeup stuff.
I like it.
Yeah, I do like that. So, all right, well, we'll catch you back here next week. We'll see if Andrew is going to get called into work again. We'll have some more sports talk. We'll have potentially a World Series champion come next week. We're going to have a game up on Andrew when the Seahawks win tonight. But other than that, have a nice Halloween, and we will see you here next Monday.